So one of the ways that I like to think of this, or that helps me kind of say, well, where are we? What do we want to do next? What should I take on next? Is looking at this progression that we see when we take on continuous improvement. So we looked at project maturity or process maturity, and we looked at how that changes, right? How we go from that defined to that measured, from that measured to that optimized. So we really didn't say, what does it mean to move up that scale? What are the tools that we are going to use? What are the methodologies that we should be excelling at as we move up that? And so this is what I'm sharing with you here. So generally what we see when organizations are just starting to use Lean and Six Sigma, continuous improvement, process improvement, where they should start is 5S. 5S is identifying waste in your physical and virtual environments. So simply cleaning up your workspaces, making sure that there's not physical waste, or in a virtual environment, virtual waste in your environment. So getting rid of all the trash, getting rid of the things that don't help you actually get your job done. Really identifying what you need and making sure what you need for your employees is there. Now, this can be significant to start with because when you change your environment, you change the way people interact with the environment. So you're more likely to sustain those changes. Now, I want you to think about a time when you had to dramatically change your environment. For a lot of us, we've had to do that during COVID. Now, when you had to go from going to work every day to living at home, I bet you had to learn a lot of new processes, which means that you were actually during that time open to a lot of changes that maybe you wouldn't have been open to otherwise. So this is why 5S is a great place to start. It really opens people up. When we change the environment, it opens them up to other improvements. Then we can introduce Kaizen. Kaizen is those rapid improvement events. So small changes that really are lean focused, really we're taking that shovel and we're getting that waste out of the way. And within a Kaizen activity in those 5 days, we're actually teaching people, similar to white belt, we're teaching people about these concepts so that they can go and use these concepts. And then they apply them in these events and they come back and we make improvements, we get those wins, and people get excited. People say, I can actually make changes. I'm actually empowered to make improvements. So we win the hearts and minds in Kaizens. We make them open to these opportunities. We get them out there and actually making those changes, feeling like they can control it and improve it. And they actually are able to see those changes in their environment. And then we want to make sure we're using those other lean tools. We want to look at theory of constraints. We want to look at pull. We want to implement those methodologies, those tool sets, so that we are getting all that dirt out of the way, all that waste out of the way, so that we can focus on value. Now, once we've done that, we're going to be at a place where all the problems that we have left, or most of the problems we have left, are complex, are hard, are really doing that delicate work of saying, well, now we know we have too many defects in this department. What do we do about it? We understand what value is, and we're not achieving it, and we have data for it now. Then you introduce Six Sigma, and you go in with those projects and you do that exacting work where we take on those complex cross-functional opportunities. Now, once you're at a place in your organization where Six Sigma is widely used and known, then you're at a great place to start doing design for Six Sigma. So for those new processes, so we're no longer just looking at existing processes, but we're actually looking at new processes as well. So if you're struggling with where do I start, I really encourage you to start looking at 5S, to look at your environment, to think about what are those things that you can eliminate from your environment,